Monday, January 25th. Here we go. Start. We'll hold you accountable for the work that you did on Friday or should have done on Friday. So take a look here. Which of the following statements are true based on the guided notes on page 78, Libya? Again, go ahead and review those guided notes and check all of the statements that are true. Read them carefully, please. And then question 2, which of the following statements are true based on the tacos section of page 78, Libya? Read those carefully, and that will help me understand your acquisition of the skills to analyze political cartoons using the tacos organizer. I'll give you 2 minutes. Go. All right, let's continue here. Summary for today. Continue. Our objective is to create a flag representing the identity and mission of the Arab Spring. And we'll really get into that tomorrow. We're going to continue to learn about Syria today, which will help you better understand what the mission and identity of the Arab Spring is. Okay, so our unit remains the same. Africa and the Middle East. Statement of inquiry: discontent creates change. Hopefully you're seeing that when these individuals are discontent, they are not satisfied with their government, they're pursuing something different. They're pursuing change. They're protesting. They're taking to the streets. And then synchronous work is the starter, which we just did. We're going to begin page 79, Syria, and then January 25th, take it out the door. It'll be the last thing you do today. Your asynchronous work is just to make sure that you finish page 79, Syria. Okay? Let's go ahead to that page. Everybody go to page 79 in your digital notebook. I will give you 30 seconds. Go.
You are mine. Hey, come on, darling. Stop the hiding. Speak your mind. Oh, I loved you, but you left me speechless. Then say if you love me, then say you love me. You are mine.
All right, we all should be there on page 79 in the digital notebook here, and also 79 here in Canvas. Let's go over these notes that you have here, these guided notes. And as I go through these notes and kind of present and talk about this topic, talk about the Arab Spring in Syria from 2011, I want you to just kind of look up here and highlight the must-know content. Highlight the information that is incredibly important, because that will help you then develop and create your flag starting tomorrow. So let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at that now. So give background again, right? So we started in Tunisia in December of 2010. Mohamed Bouazizi died January 4th in 2011. Started this revolution in Tunisia where all of the people took to the streets and called for the resignation of Ben Ali. He resigned. They have a new constitution. They had democratic elections. It doesn't mean everything's been great, but that's part of the outcome of Tunisia. Then that movement, that pro-democracy movement, transitioned to Egypt, where they did the same thing. They were met with more violence by their leader, Hosni Mubarak. But in the end, he resigned in 18 days, less than 3 weeks. He also resigned, and another dictator fell. Then you have the Libyan citizens seeing those two succeed. They did the same exact thing to oust their leader, Muammar Gaddafi. Muammar Gaddafi never resigned, but they killed him. Okay, rebels found him, dragged him behind the truck, ended up killing him, ending his control of Libya. And now you see people in Syria, they saw all those things happen in quick succession. It's like, back to back to back. And then here, look, March 15th. That's just over 3 months after Mohammed Bouazizi died on January 4th. Now you have a fourth country that is seeking democracy. And so that's occurred again March 15th, 2011. The leader in Syria, President Bashar al-Assad, okay, you have a few revolutionaries, rebels, these other groups that were against Assad, okay, the Damascus Declaration Group, which is a pro-democracy group, a group called the Muslim Brotherhood, which is a massive political party throughout a lot of the Arab world. You have Kurdish factions from the north, which is another group of people, and local coordination committees. So you have quite a few groups of people that are against Bashar al-Assad and wish that he would no longer be the president of Syria. So it began in a small town called Dara. Students were voiced their concerns against the government by spraying graffiti, okay, throughout the town or different areas. This is like a university town, so these students did that. As a result, they were actually tortured by the government. So again, you see this political oppression, right? Where not that graffiti is okay and just spraying anti-government graffiti everywhere, but these students were not allowed to voice their opinions, not allowed to possess this freedom of speech and to voice their concerns to their government, okay, or about their government. So their demands that they wanted open elections. They started after these students found out that they were tortured. Again, everybody took to the streets, and they wanted open elections. They wanted Assad to be removed. They wanted equality for the Kurds, and they wanted greater political freedom. Now, this turned absolutely terrible. Okay, this was disastrous. It turned into a full-blown civil war, complete chaos. Government met the factions, the opposition, with extreme violence. An armed insurgency began. Creation of the Free Syrian Army to oppose the Assad regime was kind of started that civil war. You have this Free Syrian Army versus Assad and the Syrian army. Again, turned into a terrible civil war. There were chemical weapons used by the Syrian government against their citizens. So you have, again, I'm not exactly sure the name, but it's kind of like you have a weapon that's distributed, right, or explodes in an area, and it's filled with chemicals, and it causes like burning and just these, and it's known to be something that is not allowed when in war, and specifically against your citizens. As a result, Syria kind of turned into some extreme chaos, and you have the spread of ISIS, which is an Islamic extremist group that started to gain territory and power at this time in 2011. Now, again, we're talking about, right, this is literally 10 years ago, okay? But you still have the ramifications of that occurring today. Okay, so that's the outcome. Some of the outcome. You look at it today, Assad is still in control. It is still, appears and looks like a war zone. There's still political oppression. This is a specific example where the Arab Spring was not successful from the beginning. Others were successful, and then they kind of went back into that cycle of still having an authoritarian regime. Okay, so you should, again, looking through that area and highlighting some of the key content there, the incredibly important information. Okay, it's all important, but what is extremely important? All right, let's take a look here. Page. Let's look at the Edpuzzle video. This one's about 6 minutes long. So I'm going to give you 10 or so minutes to finish that. Okay, so go ahead and begin. I want you just to, as you're watching it, no minimum or maximum requirement here in the notes. Just type some notes in that category. That just will help you answer those questions. Remember, take your time, do well. If you do not finish in 10 minutes, that's okay because you have the asynchronous time to get that done. So I want everybody to go ahead and do that now. 10 minutes. Everybody should be watching the video about Syria and Edpuzzle. And let me know in the chat when you're done. Thanks. All right, so everybody, you should be done or close to done. If not, you can continue that for your asynchronous work. Let's look at this political cartoon here. Okay, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about this one. I'm gonna talk a little bit about this one today, right? So we're looking at this political cartoon. There we go. All right, there's no time, but you can infer what the time is. Okay, you can infer what the time is. So I'm looking at that, right? I know that the Arab Spring's taking place. That looks like that's Assad. So this is probably, once again, this is probably 2011. And what is he actions? All right, we have person mowing the lawn. All right, lawn slash flowers. Okay, we have, looks like singing, right? Flowers, singing. Some other actions there. All right. All right, let's continue here. Captions. This is where again you're going to type the words. Okay. I hate Arab Spring. We see also Assad. We see musical notes. We see yeah. Right? Like, okay. All right. So those are some of the captions that we see. Objects. Lawnmower. Flowers. Mailbox. Is that a window maybe? So there's a window behind. Okay. And we see Assad, or a person, right? Person mowing the lawn. All right. So looking at all that info here, I know that was quick. We combine all that. What's happening? What do you think the summary is of this political cartoon? Okay, you have Assad mowing the lawn, right? It's not a literal mowing the lawn. We don't actually have actual happy flowers singing, right? But what does that represent? And he's saying, I hate Arab Spring. I like how this Arab Spring and the flowers and the connection there, right? Because in the spring, things are growing. Okay? Things are growing in the spring. Things are green. Things are fresh. Things are vibrant. He's saying, I hate Arab Spring. And he's mowing it all down, right? He's mowing down those flowers that are singing. He's crushing the dreams of the protesters, the Syrian people that desire this democracy and freedom. He's just mowing them down, right? So I think that's what's being represented. And if you look here, right, these are startled. They have no idea still. They're singing, they're joyous. They think they're going to succeed just like Tunisia and Egypt and Libya. Okay, but they're ultimately not going to. So I think here this represents that Assad will do whatever it takes to end the I'm going to say democracy movement in Syria, even if it means hurting his own citizens to keep control. All right. And again, any questions about that, you can put them in the chat. Any questions about that, you can put them in the chat. I know you did a super quick analysis. You've done the last three completely on your own. I wanted to just go over this again just as review so you have a better idea of how to complete the Tacos Organizer for political cartoons. I've seen a lot of success, but I've also seen some areas where we just need a good reminder. Okay, now here you have the optional research. Okay, information is here. If you do want to look further into it, your asynchronous work is to complete that entire page. Make sure the guided notes are highlighted. Make sure you have Edpuzzle notes and you watched that entire video. And make sure you analyze the political cartoon by completing the Tacos Organizer. Let's go take it out the door. Hopefully there are no issues with this one. I hope not. What was today's objective? What unit are we studying? what was the statement of inquiry, and then what is the asynchronous work. Yep, everything looks good. Submit that, and then you're good. And we'll begin the flag design and the process tomorrow. Okay, you can look ahead a little bit, have some of that posted, and even begin a little bit. But again, there's a process that I want to walk you through for the creation of your flags.